After 87 hours, Gables,
Yeah.
I've finally beaten Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Um, yeah,
Eh.
so it's taken me a few weeks, but I finally got it done. Pretty much been taking up pretty much all my free time that I have had for, yeah, like I said, yeah, like the last, I don't know, about 3, 4 weeks now. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know where to begin on this one. Just
Okay.
kind of give my final
Um.
thoughts here. Go ahead, Gables. What were you gonna say?
Okay. So I do probably have some couple questions for you. It's
Okay.
like one, did you finish all the mini games?
No. So I beat
Okay.
I did enough to at least get like ranked into all of them.
Uh huh.
Um, so yeah, I didn't do all. I did that, but all right, I'll start there. So I remember I was doing like everything.
Yeah.
I eventually the mini games was the thing that broke me. Where like I'm not gonna get the top score in all these because I'm
Right.
like they're not fun enough to like they're just long enough and they're not fun enough to like want like that one more time mentality. Like you did them a few
Right.
times, like all right, I've wasted like an hour playing this lame ass Rocket League game. I'm gonna move on. Um, so I was doing everything. I did all. So I'm gonna start off right now. I did all of the open world stuff. I did all of the missions in
Mm-hmm.
there. I found all the
Yes.
towers, did all the side quests, and that part. Then there are the actual like side quest itself. I talked about last week. I was on the last one I thought I had left, which was you have to like beat the gold cup in the chocobo races. Before that, you have to
Yeah.
beat like 7 or 8 races before you get to the gold cup. I did do that, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
finally, I'm done with the side quest. There's one more side quest, Gables. You want to know
Mm-hmm.
what that side quest entails you to do?
Well, what does it do?
So remember I told you there is the high scores in all of the mini games.
Yeah.
This one requires you to beat the expert score in all of the mini games. So
Oh, come on.
I was like I did like two, and I'm like no I'm not doing fuck this, I'm
Dude,
out. So
that is ridiculous in
yeah,
terms of padding. I mean, come
yeah, I
on.
was like fuck that, like no, I'm not doing it. So I didn't do it. That was like the thing that brought. I did every other side quest. I did all the open world stuff. I did almost all of the VR training, like combat training stuff in there. I think
Uh-huh.
there's like 50 something to do. I was in like the 40s by the time I was done with them. Um,
Right?
I uh, I fought most of the optional bosses. There is one more mission I wanted to do that would require you to like do a lot of traveling, and I was just like, I'm gonna come back. Like, this is the thing I'm gonna probably come back for, or I'll do like New Game Plus or something like that if that ever does come.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's gonna be too much more like content, like story content that I was like. Because the main reason I was doing a lot of stuff was because I felt like the story content was good. Like those side quests, most of the side quests I talked about a lot last week, man, they're bad. A lot of them are just not fun to play. But they give you enough like just conversations with your buddies, and like some of them actually lead to like I can't believe like this content is like actually pretty important. I think to like some of these characters here, and they involve
Yeah.
like important like characters that are like they're not of the main group, but they're like characters that are like they're important characters like side characters of the game. And like there's
Right?
like some really good character building and story content that are like tied to some of these side quests. And then some side quests where I'm just like, why is this here? This fucking was nothing. This went like it introduced a brand new character that has nothing to do with the game. That's only involved in this one side quest, and then I move on. And I'm like, okay. And it's honestly all right. There is an issue, a design flaw in Square Enix with the way they give out some of these side quests. Is the main issue what I mean? I love Final Fantasy 16. I put almost 70 hours in that game. But man, I feel like I wasted like a solid 15 hours on dumb bullshit. And it was the same. My complaints are exactly the same as this, where it's like, man, they put some really good like some of the side characters like they they have like plots that come in like Final Fantasy 16
Mm-hmm.
that are in the main story from these characters, but they get played out in the side quests. But the problem is some of these side quests, like I said, are absolute bullshit and go nowhere and lead and have like it's just like oh complete waste of time. And some of these side quests are like what this is main qual this is main story quality. And why is this here? Why is this behind like why are you putting this really good content behind this bullshit that's not fun to play?
Mm.
Or like I'm like, hell, well, it's there, it's awesome. They want me to play it, but I'm like, well, make it fucking fun. Make it fun for me to do.
Mm.
Why, like, and that's my frustration is like, the bully thing is, I feel like I'm just wasting so much time, and
Yes.
and it sucks because like when I'm in the main game, when I'm playing through the main story, man, I fucking love this goddamn game. It is so good. I am having such a great time. It's with all my buddies. Kate Sith, I love that fucker. That little goofy looking son of a bitch. He's the coolest goddamn character in all video games. I'm gonna say it right fucking now. It makes me like these characters that like Vincent and Sid and Yuffie, like especially Yuffie and Vincent because they were like optional characters you can find in the OG Final Fantasy VII, where like
Hmm.
they were just like kind of background characters. I never used them, never played as them. And this like they're actually really good. Like I actually like Yuffie a lot. Kate said it's the same thing where like Kate said was like a back like obviously there's like the core four, there's Aerith, Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa. And then like but then there's just like the other like is there eight? Nine? I think there's nine main characters in the game now.
Yeah.
Um and then there's the other ones that are just like they just kind of like they're just kind of there. They don't really like I never use them, don't really care. Um and like but this one it's like man I like they just like and like the way they like when you're like in the main story where like they break off characters and they force you to use them. Red 13, I forgot about Red 13 as well. And like they did such a great job of like forcing me to use these characters, but like
Right.
but they built like the fights and everything around like so that it makes sense for what they're doing. So like some of the characters like some of these characters like when you're fighting like flying enemies, it could fucking suck using Kate Sith or Kate Sith or Red 13 against flying enemies, but like they do such a great job of like building the enemies you're gonna see during those events around the characters you're using, and I love that. And like the stories they tell, like everything, the things they expanded upon were great because like some like areas like literally is like a 2 minute scene in the main game, the original game, and like they padded this thing out to like a 2.5 3 hour long thing, but they like add so
Hmm.
much quality content to it. It is so great. Like the combat, like I said, like I said a couple weeks ago, they didn't drastically change it. They just kind of built upon it, which is great because that combat was awesome. Like I love the combat in Seven Remake so much more than I did in 16. I like the 16 combat, but the Seven Remake was awesome, and they just kind of added onto it and built onto it, and I loved it for what it was, and like
Hmm.
just find a way to like work in and like use everybody's abilities together, and like it just kind of added more to it, and like made you want to like switch up the party because you only have three at a time, and the open world stuff like that. You for the most of the game, you could play as any three you want. So like it kind of made me want to switch out and use different characters because of like the way their abilities work together. Um, but it's so far like I will say if you are a fan and you want to play this game, do not play it the way I did. Just play it the way you want to play it. But I say like Seinfeld, the way like I hate that like when you like all right you beat a main mission and then you just like dump 5 6 side stories on you at a time. It just kills the flow of the game. And it's like
Hmm.
cool. And it's like there was multiple days where I played for 6 7 hours and I didn't even progress the story at all because I was just doing the side
Oh
content.
wow.
And it's like obviously it's like do you have to do that? I know I don't have to do it, but it's like I said, they just give you enough. Like if you're a fan like me, they give you enough in the side content where it's like, well, this could be really important. Like or like some of the stuff like some of like the side quests were bad, but like what I got at the end, I'm like, well, that's kind of worth it. I like what I got here. Like I like the character building. I like the little 2 minute cutscene I got between Barrett and Cloud or something in this, or like it kind of like it added so much more background to these characters and like it made you like these characters more, like love these characters more than I already love them.
Right.
Um, I just man find a better way to do that, but I feel like they do a better job of like introducing these side stories, and also kind of like it kind of kills like the um like when you're like playing like an open world game and you just wander upon a side quest instead of like you just open up
Right.
the map and there's just a green dot where the side quest is and I just walk over there, trigger it, go do the mission. I don't like kind of like I don't know instead of just like handing it to me like I kind of want like let me like find it, I don't know. Or if I don't want to do that way, I'll just look it up. I'll YouTube it like how do I do this thing? Let me do that. But like, I mentioned like last week I did like whenever I did like side stories that didn't have like a crazy boss fight or something at the end where I'm just fighting generic enemies I've killed a million times. I eventually put it on easy because I was like I just want to get through this as fast as possible to get to the little carrot you've been dangling in front of me here. Um, but moving on here, going back to like the main stuff. I love it. It's so much fun. I love like I said, the combat's great, the story's great. I like where everything's going. Like it's crazy to me that like they like this is just disc one of Final Fantasy VII, which I don't know, probably took like you probably get through like 15 hours or so, 20 hours maybe,
Right.
in the original game, and they like made two gigantic games where like you it's like 150, 120, 150 hours of content in these these two games here for what was one disc,
Wow.
25 years ago. Um, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but Gables, I mentioned before the game came out, was my biggest concern was are they gonna Square Enix this thing, the story,
Hmm.
because like I loved remake and like at that point I never played the OG Final Fantasy 7. Remake was all I knew, and like I loved the first like all the way up to like that. Everything was great. It was his own really great story. I loved all the characters, and then that last chapter was like super fucking confusing. I'm like, where the fuck is this going? And then I went back, I replayed OG, and then went back and replayed remake. And like a lot of things they teased throughout the game like made more sense to me. Like, okay, I know where they're going with this. And then I replayed that last chapter. I'm like, all right, well, I'm still really kind of confused here, but like where the fuck like, they made it really convoluted and kind of like, but I'm like, whatever. I'm along for the ride. I loved everything else they did before that. Like I'm here for it. Like they're doing some crazy shit here. They're introduced. They're like, okay, cool. This really bad Advent Children movie you made. You're gonna like you're kind of tying that into this game. That's a weird choice, but I'm here for it. Crisis Core. Okay, this game that's exclusive on the PSP. All right, you're introduced that. That's weird, but I'm along for the ride. And my big concern was like, are they gonna Square Enix this thing? Are they gonna make it like super convoluted and like, where the fuck is this going? Gables,
Mm.
they're kind of doing it, and I'm really concerned. Um, I'm not gonna
Oh
spoil
no.
anything. I'm not gonna say anything more. But man, I'm like the last like 2 hours. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And since then, I thought about it a lot. I kind of get where they're going with it, and I kind of like it. I like it a lot less than when I was confused. So I'm really concerned because god damn it, I'm like, man, you're doing it, and then somehow the last chapter of both games, you kind of just make it. You just do some weird shit for no real reason. And I feel like they're maybe overthinking a little bit. I'm like, I need you guys to bring it down a little bit. I don't know. Because like to me, like the best part of this game is just like it's the story, it's the characters, it's everything, it's this world, everything like that. Like it's all built around that. And then they just like, man, like what are we doing? Um, I don't hate it. I don't. I swear. I just don't love it, Gables, and I'm concerned because it's
Mm.
like I don't and then like well now you kind of have to play Crisis Core Reunion to kind of get what's happening here. You kind of have to play OG. I guess you don't have to play OG Final Fantasy 7 to understand it. But where like remake really held up on its own, except for that last chapter was a little
Hmm.
confusing. But even like I said, going back and replaying OG Final Fantasy 7, then watching Advent Children, and then playing through remake I was still kind of confused, but I got a lot more than what they were going for. Um, yeah, somebody that's done all those things now, um, like definitely helps to like. I feel like you kind of need to play reunion to understand where the story's going, and it's still
Mm.
at the end of the day doesn't make a lot of sense. Um, I don't know, Gables.
Huh.
I love this game. I really do. It's coming out of it though. Like to me, like remake was immediately one of the greatest games of all time to me. Like immediately shot up to like in my top 15, top 20, which maybe is like, well, that's pretty far down, but like we play a lot of games. That's saying something. That's a like I would say now it's probably in my top 10 favorite games of all time. And like I still love Rebirth. Like I put 80 something hours into it for a fucking reason. Um,
Hmm.
but man, like overall, and like I know I've been pretty negative on this for the most part, but I would still say though, like it's still it's a phenomenal game. It's a great game. I love this game so much. Um, there's a lot of design flaws, a lot of pacing issues in that ending, which honestly, but it's also one of those things where it's like I don't know. Sometimes when you're that middle game or that middle thing in a trilogy of like a movie or whatever, the ending can always be a little rough. Like Mass Effect 2, the ending wasn't very good, and Mass Effect 2 was like considered one of the greatest games of all time. But that last boss was pretty bad. Other than the fact it was like a suicide mission thing, it wasn't a really great
Oh,
ending. So, and
and
that
another
go ahead.
and like kind of another example, is with Halo 2, to where that
Yeah,
game is considered to be an excellent game and probably one of the best games and stuff from that genre, but the ending of that and stuff, the ending of that game really left a lot of things to be desired because of how it ended and stuff, and it created like a more desire to play and finish the fight on Halo 3.
yeah. So I'm wondering if it's maybe one of those things where it's like, maybe in the end, when the third one comes out, this one will stand better on its own. But
That's what I hope.
it's all about how they pay it off, honestly, how they're gonna do it. Because like I said, I actually love this game. It's it's gonna be really hard not to make this game my game of the year. I swear to God, I love this game, people. I really do. I just coming out of it, I'm just like okay, they went a direction I'm not a fan of. But if they can, um, I have faith that they can pay it off because they've done such a great job. Otherwise, I just fix the pacing and pay off that ending and make it work, and I'm here for it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I would still put it like if I had to put a score on it, it's still like a 9 out of 10 to me. It really is. It's just um, I can't wait. I imagine in like a year or two, I'm gonna replay through this game, and I'll just do it like a just a straight run through, and I'll probably love it
Yeah,
so much more, and have like I'll like it so much more, and because of that. But yeah, like man, I wish I played this game differently. I
right.
think I hurt myself more than anything by playing it the way I played it. Um, but yeah, anyways, yeah, I mean, it's a great game. I promise it's a great game. But
Mm.
yeah, anyways, that's all I've been playing. I did pick up my copy here. I hit the mic. Sorry. I did pick up my copy though of Rise of the Ronin. I will talk about that. I've only played it for like an hour. I will talk about that more next week. But if you like all this,
Yeah.
please like, follow, subscribe. Check us out everywhere. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are on. We're on it. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Please check us out all those places. Like, follow, subscribe, 5-star reviews, leave comments, tell your friends, share with all of them. I really would appreciate if you did that. I was host. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gable. So until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
And Nick Gibbles.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Be sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.